Have you ever noticed how things seem to fall into place when you're not obsessing over them? It's a strange phenomenon, isn't it? You spend days, weeks, or even months fretting over a problem, and nothing seems to work out. Then, the moment you decide to let it go, everything starts to click. This isn't just coincidence. There's a real, powerful principle at work here, and understanding it can change your life. Let's talk about why once you stop caring, results often come instantly. This might sound counterintuitive at first. After all, we're taught from a young age that caring deeply about our goals is the key to success. But what if that's not always true? What if, sometimes, caring too much is exactly what's holding us back? Think about it. When you care too much about something, you're often in a state of anxiety or stress. Your mind is constantly churning, worrying about every little detail. You might find yourself overthinking every decision, second-guessing your choices, and feeling paralyzed by the fear of making a mistake. This state of mind isn't conducive to success. It's exhausting, and it can actually prevent you from taking the actions that would lead to the results you want. Caring too much creates a paradox. The more you want something, the harder it can be to achieve it. This is because excessive caring often leads to behaviors that sabotage our efforts. We become too rigid, too controlling, or too afraid to take necessary risks. We might procrastinate because we're afraid of not doing things perfectly. Or we might push too hard and burn ourselves out. So, what's the alternative? It's not about not caring at all. Instead, it's about finding a balance. It's about learning to care in a way that's productive rather than destructive. This is where the idea of stopping caring comes in. But it's not really about stopping caring altogether. It's about letting go of the anxious, obsessive kind of caring that holds us back. When we let go of this excessive attachment to outcomes, several things happen. First, we reduce our stress levels. This alone can have a huge impact on our performance and decision-making abilities. When we're not stressed, we think more clearly. We're more creative. We're better at solving problems. Secondly, letting go allows us to be more flexible. When we're not rigidly attached to a specific outcome, we're more open to opportunities. We can adapt more easily to changing circumstances. We might even discover better solutions that we couldn't see before because we were so focused on one particular path. Thirdly, when we stop obsessing, we often start taking more action. Paradoxically, caring less can make us more productive. This is because we're no longer paralyzed by the fear of failure or the need for perfection. We can just do the work without constantly second-guessing ourselves. But how does this work in practice? How can we learn to stop caring in a way that's actually beneficial? It starts with understanding the nature of attachment. Attachment is a natural human tendency. We get attached to people, to outcomes, to our own self-image. This attachment isn't inherently bad, but it can become problematic when it's excessive. Excessive attachment often stems from fear. We're afraid of failure, of disappointment, of not being good enough. These fears can drive us to hold on too tightly to our goals or desires. We think that if we just care enough, if we worry enough, we can control the outcome. But the truth is, many things in life are beyond our control. Learning to let go of this need for control is key. This doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. Instead, it means focusing on what we can control, our actions, our attitudes, our responses, and letting go of what we can't. One way to practice this is through mindfulness. Mindfulness is about being present in the moment, observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we can start to notice when we're getting too attached or too worried about something. We can observe these feelings without getting caught up in them. Another helpful approach is to focus on the process rather than the outcome. Instead of obsessing over whether you'll achieve your goal, focus on the steps you need to take to get there. Enjoy the journey. Take pride in the effort you're putting in, regardless of the result. It's also important to remember that failure isn't the end of the world. In fact, failure can often be a valuable learning experience. When we're less afraid of failure, we're more willing to take risks and try new things. And often, it's these bold actions that lead to the biggest breakthroughs. Now, let's look at how this principle applies in different areas of life. In work and career, for example, being too attached to a particular outcome can hold you back. Maybe you are so focused on getting a specific job or promotion that you're missing other opportunities. Or maybe you are so worried about making mistakes that you're not taking the initiative or showing your true capabilities. By letting go of this attachment, you might find that you perform better in your current role. You might be more willing to take on new challenges or share innovative ideas. And ironically, this improved performance and attitude might lead to the very opportunities you were hoping for. In relationships, too, excessive caring can be counterproductive. When we're too anxious about a relationship, we might become clingy or controlling. We might constantly seek reassurance or try to force things to go the way we want. This behavior often pushes people away rather than bringing them closer. On the other hand, when we learn to relax and let the relationship unfold naturally, we often find that things improve. We become more confident, more authentic, and more enjoyable to be around. We can appreciate the relationship for what it is, rather than constantly worrying about what it should be. The same principle applies to personal goals, whether it's losing weight, learning a new skill, or breaking a bad habit. When we're too fixated on the end result, we can easily become discouraged. We might give up at the first setback, or burn ourselves out trying to achieve our goal too quickly. But when we focus on the process, when we learn to enjoy the journey of self-improvement, we often find that the results come more easily. We're more consistent in our efforts because we're not constantly judging ourselves against some ideal outcome. It's important to note that stopping caring doesn't mean giving up on your goals or becoming apathetic. It's about changing your relationship with your goals. It's about learning to pursue them with a sense of calm determination rather than anxious desperation. This shift in mindset can be challenging. We're often conditioned to believe that success comes from relentless drive and ambition. And to some extent, that's true. Achieving great things does require effort and dedication. But there's a difference between healthy ambition and obsessive attachment. Healthy ambition drives you forward. It inspires you to learn, to grow, to push your boundaries. Obsessive attachment, on the other hand, holds you back. It keeps you stuck in patterns of anxiety and self-doubt. So how can you tell the difference? One way is to pay attention to how you feel as you pursue your goals. Do you feel energized and excited, even when facing challenges? Or do you feel constantly stressed and worried? Are you able to enjoy the process, or are you only focused on the end result? Another sign of healthy detachment is the ability to be flexible. Can you adjust your goals if circumstances change? Can you see and take advantage of unexpected opportunities? Or are you so fixated on one particular outcome that you're blind to other possibilities? Developing this healthier mindset takes practice. It's not something that happens overnight. But there are strategies you can use to start shifting your perspective. One approach is to practice gratitude. When you're grateful for what you already have, you're less likely to be anxiously attached to future outcomes. Try taking a few moments each day to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how small. Another helpful technique is visualization. But instead of just visualizing the end result you want, try visualizing yourself calmly and confidently taking the steps to get there. See yourself handling challenges with ease, learning from setbacks, and enjoying the journey. It can also be helpful to broaden your focus. Often, we get too attached to specific outcomes because we've narrowed our vision too much. We think that only this one thing will make us happy or successful. Try to zoom out and consider the bigger picture. What really matters to you in life? What are your core values? When you connect with these deeper priorities, it becomes easier to let go of anxious attachment to particular outcomes. Remember, too, that it's okay to care. Caring is what makes us human. It's what drives us to make a difference in the world. The key is to care in a way that's healthy and productive. Care about doing your best. Care about learning and growing. Care about the people in your life. But try to let go of caring about things you can't control. As you practice this new way of thinking, you might start to notice changes in your life. You might find that you're more relaxed, more confident. You might discover that you're better at solving problems because your mind isn't clouded by anxiety. You might even find that opportunities seem to come to you more easily. This isn't magic. It's simply the result of approaching life with a clearer, calmer mind. When you're not obsessing over outcomes, you're more open to seeing opportunities. You're more likely to take the kind of confident, inspired action that leads to success. Of course, this doesn't mean that everything in your life will suddenly become perfect. Life will still have its ups and downs. You'll still face challenges and setbacks. But you'll be better equipped to handle these challenges. Instead of being derailed by every obstacle, you'll be able to respond with resilience and creativity. One of the most powerful benefits of this mindset shift is the effect it can have on your relationships. When you're not anxiously attached to specific outcomes, you can be more present with the people in your life. You can listen more deeply, empathize more fully. You're not constantly trying to control or change others to fit your expectations. This change in your approach can lead to more authentic, satisfying relationships. People are often drawn to those who have this kind of calm confidence. You might find that your relationships become easier, more natural, and more rewarding. In your work life, too, this shift can have profound effects. When you're not desperately seeking approval or terrified of making mistakes, you're free to be more creative and take more initiative. You might find that you're better able to handle stress and pressure. You might even discover talents or abilities that were previously hidden behind your anxiety. This approach can be particularly powerful when it comes to big life changes or important decisions. Often, we get stuck because we're too afraid of making the wrong choice. We endlessly analyze and agonize, trying to guarantee a positive outcome. But in doing so, we often prevent ourselves from taking any action at all. When you learn to let go of this anxious attachment to outcomes, you free yourself to make decisions more easily. You can weigh the options, consider the potential consequences, and then make a choice without being paralyzed by fear. And if things don't work out exactly as you hoped, you're better equipped to adapt and find new solutions. It's important to note that this isn't about becoming passive or fatalistic. It's not about saying, whatever happens, happens. It's about finding a balance between taking action and letting go. You do your best, you put in the effort, but then you release your attachment to the outcome. Think of it like planting a garden. You choose the seeds carefully, prepare the soil, plant at the right time, water regularly. You do everything in your power to create the conditions for growth. But you can't control exactly how each plant will grow. You can't make the sun shine or the rain fall. At some point, you have to trust in the process and let nature take its course. The same is true in life. You do your best to create the right conditions for success. You learn, you prepare, you take action. But then you have to let go and allow things to unfold. This doesn't mean becoming passive. You still need to water your garden, to tend to your goals. But you do it with a sense of calm trust rather than anxious control. As you practice this approach, you might find that your definition of success begins to change. Instead of being focused solely on external achievements, you might start to value inner peace and personal growth more highly. You might find satisfaction not just in reaching your goals, but in who you become as you work towards them. This shift can lead to a profound sense of freedom. When you're not constantly worried about outcomes, when you're not tied to a rigid idea of how things should be, you're free to experience life more fully. You can be more spontaneous, more open to new experiences. You can find joy in the present moment instead of always anxiously looking to the future. Remember, this is a practice. It's not about perfection. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns of anxious attachment. That's okay. The key is to notice when this happens and gently guide yourself back to a more balanced perspective. One way to support this practice is to surround yourself with people who share this mindset. Seek out friends, mentors, or communities that value personal growth and inner peace. These relationships can provide support and encouragement as you work on changing your mindset. Reading books or listening to podcasts on topics like mindfulness, stoicism, or positive psychology can also be helpful. These resources can provide new perspectives and practical strategies for letting go of anxious attachment. Remember, too, that self-care is crucial in this process. It's hard to maintain a calm, balanced perspective when you're exhausted or stressed. Make sure you're taking care of your physical and emotional needs. Get enough sleep, eat well, exercise regularly. Take time for activities that recharge you, whether that's spending time in nature, practicing a hobby, or simply relaxing with loved ones. As you continue on this journey, you might find that your influence on others begins to change. As you become calmer and more centered, you might notice that you have a positive effect on the people around you. Your relaxed confidence can be contagious, inspiring others to adopt a similar mindset. This ripple effect can extend to all areas of your life. In your family, you might find that conflicts decrease as you respond to challenges with calm rationality rather than anxious emotion. In your workplace, your composed approach might inspire better teamwork and more innovative problem solving. One of the most beautiful aspects of this mindset is that it allows you to be more authentically yourself. When you're not constantly worried about outcomes or other people's approval, you're free to express your true thoughts and feelings. You can pursue your genuine interests and values without second-guessing yourself. This authenticity, in turn, can lead to a deeper sense of fulfillment. You're no longer trying to live up to some external standard of success. Instead, you're living in alignment with your true self. This can bring a sense of peace and contentment that no external achievement can match. As you move forward with this new perspective, be patient with yourself. Changes in mindset don't happen overnight. There will be setbacks and challenges along the way. But each time you practice letting go, each time you choose calm trust over anxious attachment, you're rewiring your brain. You're creating new habits of thought that will serve you well throughout your life. Remember, the goal isn't to stop caring altogether. It's to care in a way that's healthy and productive. It's about finding the balance between putting in effort and letting go of control. It's about doing your best while also trusting in the process of life. As you continue to practice this approach, you might be surprised by the results you see in your life. Not because you've worked harder or worried more, but because you've created the mental and emotional space for good things to come to you. You've opened yourself up to possibilities you couldn't see before. So, the next time you find yourself obsessing over an outcome, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that it's okay to let go. Do your best, then release your attachment to the results. Trust that whatever happens, you have the strength and resilience to handle it. Remember, life is not just about the destination. It's about the journey. When you stop caring so anxiously about outcomes, you free yourself to enjoy the path you're on. You open yourself up to growth, to learning, to unexpected joys and opportunities. So, are you ready to try a different approach? Are you willing to experiment with caring less and trusting more? The results might surprise you. You might find that when you stop caring so intensely, when you release your tight grip on your goals and desires, that's exactly when things start falling into place. That's when the magic happens. That's when results come, often in ways you never expected. Your journey towards this new mindset starts now. With each breath, with each moment, you have the opportunity to practice letting go. To do your best and then release the outcome. To trust in yourself and in the process of life. This is the path to true freedom, to genuine success, to a life lived with purpose and peace. So take that first step. Choose to let go of anxious attachment. Choose to trust. Choose to be present in this moment, giving your best without desperate grasping. And watch as your world begins to transform, not through force or control, but through the power of release and trust.